Hey, what's going on, good peoples? Y'all already know who it is. It's your guy J Raw with another edition of the J Raw Weekly Podcast. This time it's the NXT and NXT UK review, and this time it's a special edition of this episode because it is War Game Sunday. So that means that's right, it's predictions going down. So, like I said, in addition to doing the recap for NXT and NXT UK, is also going to be doing some War Game predictions. War Games is tonight, later on the WWE Network, starting at about 7 o'clock, going down at the CWC Center. And pretty much everybody know how I do. First and foremost, let's get the plugs in. First plug, of course, is for my big bro, DJ Hardcore from DJ Hardcore Productions. And that, of course, is another spoken herbs and words showcase going down. This time, January the 9th. Same spot, same location, 54 Maplewood Plaza. Right here in Germantown, the Maplewood Mall. Make sure you go to eventbrite.com to get your early bird tickets and more information. And you can also hit up Big Bro at DJ Hardcore Productions, at DJ Hardcore Productions on Facebook, Instagram, and I believe you got a Twitter as well. But I don't know if he'd be on Twitter as much as he is on the gram and Facebook. But you can definitely check him out on Facebook and Instagram for more information. Also, plugging the other sponsor. That's the Lucky Well Restaurant right there in 3 locations. Ambler on Butler Pike. Also on Eastern Road in Warrington. And don't forget the location in 10th and Spring Garden right here in Northern Liberties in 215. Also, making sure to plug the Facebook groups. Shout out to my mans, Russell Cave. Facebook group. Can't call the podcast no more because last episode I told you guys I was informed that Russell K podcast is no longer, but I'm in addition to Pat the Facts, we keeping the Russell K podcast spirit alive with our own individual podcast. So make sure y'all support Pat with the facts and his podcast. You can check him out at Russell Cave Podcast Group on the Facebook. He posts the link up there. And also, can't forget True Hills, Marked Out Club, and Wrestling Marks Worldwide. All right, so I got the plug. Oh, speaking of plugs, real quick, if you are a business or someone who's in need of advertisement here on the One Struggle Radio Podcast Network, we got ad reads as low as $25. Get a 30-second read, get about 2 episodes. But if you want more information, you can email me at One Struggle Radio. That's the number 1. Then STRUGGLE Radio at gmail.com. And I'll be more than glad to send you more information about how the ad reads work and the prices. All right, so now I got everything out the way. Take a quick sip of this good tea I made, and then we gonna get busy. So hold on real quick. All right, so like I said, without further ado, gonna start with the NXT recap, which was December the 2nd, 2020, last Wednesday. And if you well know, and if you listen to this podcast, I'm pretty sure you're a wrestling fanatic and you heard the news last week about Pat Patterson, the passing away. So while I said that, might as well just do a quick 10-second moment of silence for Pat Patterson and all his contributions to wrestling and things like that. Some of you are aware and don't know, he was the creator of the Royal Rumble match, and also he was the first Intercontinental Champion for WWF at the time, with WWE. So before I do get started with the NXT recap, real quick, let's just do a 10-second moment of silence for Pat Patterson. All right, so the show starts off with an extended video package of the death of WWE Hall of Famer and the first Intercontinental Champion, Pat Patterson. We then open in the arena with the entire roster and management on the stage as fans chant, "Thank you, Pat." Now, after the usual opening video intro, we see Damian Priest in the ring with Johnny Gargano on a commentary. So our first match of the night, we get a tag match with Damian Priest and Leon Ruff versus Legado del Fantasmas, Santos Escobar, and Raul Mendoza. All right, so Santos immediately goes for a quick 2 count before Raul comes in, and he rocks Leon with a knee lift and sends him backward into his own corner. Damian comes in and exchanges wrist and waist locks with Raul before Raul counters a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. Then they end up outside. Damian drops Raul across the edge of the apron before tossing him back into the ring, as we see Ghostface in the crowd. Santos then hits a suicide dive where Damian is distracted as we go to commercial. We come back to Raul in control of Damian before he reluctantly crawls to get a hot tag to Leon, who hits a Hurricane Rana for 2 before Raul gets the blind tag. Leon doesn't see the tag and Raul kicks him before Damian hits a running back elbow in the corner and knocks Santos off the apron. Damian then goes for the Reckoning, but Leon tags himself in before Damian hits the Reckoning and Leon a diving splash for the pin to win. And there you have it. Leon Ruff and Damian Priest go over Give me a second, guys. Legado El Fantasma. All right. So next up, we get a recap of last week's main event with Pete Dunne winning an advantage for his team in the men's War Games match, which was, the show was Wednesday, but it says the War Games match this Sunday at TakeOver. And as we go to commercial. Now, we come back from commercial to see Shotzi in the garage with Ember Moon and Rhea Ripley, as what she's been working on is now finished and a light shines towards it. Then we get a graphic for the women's War Games match with Candice team decide, and Rhea and Ember is added to Shotzi's, with the 4th member still a mystery. Now, we get an extended video package for the Undisputed Era out of town, where they were talking about how far the group has come since debuting in NXT ahead of their match at TakeOver against the Kings of NXT, and then we go to commercial. Now, we come back to a backstage interview with Candice LeRae and her team ahead of the Women's War Games Advantage match, which is later on tonight. Candice calls Shotzi's team damaged goods and says her team has unpredictability, resiliency, and power. All right, so next up, we get a match with Cameron Grimes versus Austin Gray. Grimes kicks Gray against the ropes and whips him into the corner before elbowing him in the top of the head, and August hits a drop kick into a jawbreaker and then a neck breaker. Gray hits a springboard twisting cross body for 2 before rolling him up, and Grimes hits a flatliner. Grimes then hits the cave in for the pin to win, and there you have it. Cameron Grimes go over on Austin Gray via pinfall. Now, after the match, Grimes cuts a promo on Dexter Lumis to the camera before putting the strap around the wrist of Gray and hitting him with a lariat and hitting him across the back with the strap. Grimes then goes to pull Gray back into the ring. Instead, pulls Lumis in the ring before Lumis whips him with the strap, and Grimes flees up the ramp as we go to commercial. All right, so we come back to commercial to a match with Jake Atlas versus Tony Nese. Now, Jake's backs Tony into the ropes before a clean break, before hitting a deep arm drag and getting 2 off of a roll-up. Jake drop kicks Tony out of the ring and hits a suicide dive before Tony knocks him off the top rope with a shote before stomping him in the corner. Now we see the Kings of NXT arriving at the arena as Jake fights out of the torture rack and nearly turns Tony inside out with a clothesline. Jake hits a German into a forearm for 2 before slapping himself, and Tony rocks him with a left hand before snapping his neck across the top rope. Tony lands on his feet when he misses a triangle moonsault before hitting a spin kick for a near fall as Jake dodges the running knees. Jake then hits the Rainbow DDT for the pin to win. And there you have it, Jake Atlas going over Tony Nese via the Rainbow DDT finisher for the pin to win. Now, after the match, Jake is interviewed where he says that he's going to continue his upward trend until he can get another shot at Santos Escobar. Next, we see the Kings of NXT make their way out to the ring from backstage as we go to commercial. We come back to Pat and company in the ring, where Pat gets on the mic and talks about the group's War Games match against the Undisputed Era this Sunday. Pat says that his team aren't afraid of UE and how they're going to dominate War Games before mocking the internet wrestling community in the NXT universe. Alright, so after that, we see Shotzi getting ready for her War Games Advantage match backstage before we get a video package for the Grizzled Young Veterans in action up next as we go to commercial. Now we come back to Xia Li and Boa training with the mysterious old man when they repeatedly duck their heads underwater until nearly drowning. We see a woman with long hair and just one eye showing in a close-up that resembles Maruka from the Ring film franchise before Xia and Bo are dropped from behind with kendo sticks. Alright, so the Grizzled Young Veterans come out to the ring for their match next against Everrise before Imperium's Ignorant Bartel attack and dispatch of Everrise. So next we get the Grizzled Young Veterans versus Imperium. Now, the match ends when we come back to the Grizzled Young Veterans in control and a double team of Fabian for 2 before Imperium retakes control and the momentum switches with Zack trapped in the corner. Marcel hits a butterfly suplex before Zack and Marcel chop each other in the throat as Fabian hits a PK into an inverted suplex by Marcel for 2. Fabian hits a rolling senton before Zack gets his knees up when Fabian goes for a moonsault before getting the hot tag to James. James hits an Ingazuri and chops before setting Fabian on the top turnbuckle, and Fabian counters into a powerbomb attempt that James blocks. Marcel knocks James off the top when the referee isn't looking into a brainbuster by Fabian for a near fall that Zack breaks up. Marcel takes out Zack at ringside before Fabian gets a near fall off of a roll-up and hits a diving crossbody that takes out everyone else at ringside. Everrise then comes back and attacks the 4 men for the double disqualification. So there you have it. It's a no contest due to double interference. Now backstage backstage Timothy Thatcher is getting ready ahead of his wrestling school segment up next as we go to commercial. Now we come back to the segment during the break where Everrise quickly left in their rental car. Now we go to the ring for tonight's edition of Timothy Thatcher's wrestling school where he's going to teach about distraction. Tim then talks to the camera before he turns around and finds Tommaso Ciampa there with his student. Ciampa mocks Tim before Tim takes him down, and Ciampa drops him with a right hand before Tim and his student double team Ciampa. Tim repeatedly sends Ciampa into the barricade before tossing him back into the ring and locking in a front choke until Ciampa passes out and collapses unconsciously to the mat. Tim then leaves up the ramp while looking back in the ring. We get a graphic of the War Games pre-show featuring Sam Roberts and RL Hawani at the desk with Wade before we get a breakdown of the card for Sunday as we go to a commercial. Now backstage, Tim is interviewed where he says that he has set a trap for Ciampa as he fell right into it before proclaiming victory ahead of their match at TakeOver. Alright, so next up is the main event, which is the Women's War Games Advantage Ladder match. Shotzi Blackheart versus Raquel Gonzalez. Now the match ends when Shotzi tips the ladder over when Raquel goes to climb it before Shotzi wedges a small ladder between the top and middle ropes. Shotzi hits an inverted cannonball in the corner that sends Raquel face first into the ladder and hits a Meteora off the top and down onto the floor. Indy brings a ladder to Candice and her teammates before Ember and Rhea show up and the two teams brawl. Indy sets the ladder up in the ring before Shotzi takes her out and Raquel clotheslines Shotzi before climbing the ladder, and Io Shirai comes out of nowhere. Io gets on the back of Raquel and chokes her before sending her out of the ring and hitting a moonsault off the top that takes everyone out at ringside. Shotzi then climbs the ladder and grabs the briefcase to win the advantage for her team at War Games. And there you have it. Shotzi Blackheart that goes over Raquel Gonzalez when she climbs the ladder and grabs the briefcase to give her team the advantage at the Women's War Games match. All right. So after that, Shotzi and her team, now including the NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai, celebrate Shotzi's victory and on various rungs of the ladder, and then we go off the air. All right, so pretty much, guys, that was NXT for last Wednesday, which was December the 2nd, 2020. Overall, was a pretty good episode of NXT. I ain't gonna lie, when I do episode 18 tomorrow, can't front that AEW Dynamite Wednesday. Oh my God. I'll say this. What happened on Dynamite didn't happen. This would have been a dope go home episode of NXT. But y'all know the Wednesday night wars and how AEW had it set up. Yeah, I'll go into it when I record episode 18 tomorrow night. But pretty much, it was definitely a good episode of NXT. I'll give it, especially because it was a go home, I'll give it close to little over 4.5 stars. I give it like 4.6. It was definitely that. Like I said, had Dynamite had an awesome show, NXT would have won Wednesday because it was a good episode. All right, I'm gonna take a quick water break. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do some ad read plugs, and then go ahead and get into NXT UK, and then go ahead and do the War Games predictions for this Sunday. All right, so just hang tight. Peace. All right, we back from that quick little water break. Well, I'll say tea break because it was pretty good, the tea I made. And coming back from the breaks, you know how I get down. Gonna go ahead and do quick plug ad read for my bro, partner in crime. And don't forget, probably in about 2 weeks right before the NBA season start, I did get confirmation from my big bro DJ Hardcore. We're probably going to film the NBA preview show for the One Struggle radio sports show. Probably do that next weekend. And we're going to drop it right before the season start. Everybody know that the NBA season started December 22nd. Looking to see what them Sixers do. So plugging the sports show, and also at the same time plugging Big Bro's showcase coming up, the Herbs and Spoken Word, which is January the 9th, 2021, going down at 54 Maplewood Mall right here in the Germantown section of Philadelphia. Like I said, make sure you go to eventbrite.com, get more information, and you can also hit Big Bro up on Instagram and Facebook at DJ Hardcore Productions. Also, don't forget about the Lucky Well, 3 locations. Ambler on Butler Pike. Don't forget Warrington on Easton Road. And don't forget the 3rd location on 10th of Spring Garden. Right now, due to the restrictions, just really take out and delivery with the Grubhub and the DoorDash. But if you go to luckywell.com, you can get more information. You can place your order. You know what I'm saying? Support my boss, man. Hopefully I get a chance to send him the link. But shout out to Mr. Chad and the rest of the staff with the 3 locations with the Lucky Well. All right, I'm going to take a quick sip, and then I'm going to go ahead and get into this NXT UK recap. All right, hold on, y'all. Alrighty, so this is the next up is the NXT UK recap, which was December the 3rd, 2020, last Thursday. Alright, so the show opens up with a graphic for the passing of Pat Patterson. Alright, so we open up in the studio with a graphic for the Hunt and SWS, South Wales Subculture, on the main event before we get an extended video package for how their feud began after the Hunt turned on Mark and Flash. Alright, so after that we get the first opening match, which was Rampage Brown versus Saxton Hutley. Now they lock up before Brown drops Saxton with a boot and a drop kick before clotheslining him for 2. Rampage hits a float over suplex for 2 before clotheslining Saxton over the top rope and down on the floor before Saxton hits the steps in frustration. Saxton drags Rampage out of the ring and drives him into the apron before rolling him back into the ring and climbing to the top, where he hits a diving clothesline for a near fall. Saxton hits a Uranagi for 2 before Rampage meets him on the top turnbuckle and Saxton shoves him backwards. Brown then hits a power slam when he catches in midair before hitting a gut-wrench sit-down powerbomb for the pin to win. And there you have it. Rampage Brown goes over and defeats Saxton Hutley via the pinfall. Now, earlier this week, Joseph Connors is being interviewed at the UKPC before we see Piper Niven and Jenny coming to blows before being separated as we go to commercial. Now, we come back from commercial, we get a video package promo by Eddie Dennis when he talks about his alliance with the Hunt. We see Saxton backstage after his loss to Rampage as Oliver Carter and Jack Stars looks on before Oliver tells Saxton better luck next time. Saxton then repeats the phrase over and over as he walks away. Now, I finally learned the correct way to say the name, and it's Adolphe Valkyrie and versus Aaliyah James. Adolphe locks in a standing side headlock before dropping Aaliyah and does a cartwheel when Aaliyah goes for head scissors. They exchange pin attempts before Aaliyah takes Adolphe down to the mat, and Adolphe gets her feet before sweeping Aaliyah and dropping the back of her neck. Adolphe locks in a submission before turning it into a backslide for 2 before Aaliyah kicks her for 2 and hitting a Northern Light suplex. Aaliyah gets 2 off of the Northern Light suplex before Adolphe drops her with kicks and hits a diving axe kick for the pin to win. There you have it. Aoff Valkyrie defeats Aaliyah James via pinfall. I think I still screwed it up. Her name, that is. I'm gonna get that name right, y'all. Best believe. All right, so next up, backstage, Pretty Deadly interviews each other before they say that they're ready for the NXT UK tag team titles as we go to commercial. We come back to a video package promo by SWS South Wales Subculture ahead of their grudge match against the Hunt in today's main event. Alright, so after that we get a match with my man Joe Coffey versus Alexander Wolf of Imperium. Now Alex takes Joe down to the mat before they grapple on the mat, and Joe comes back with a strike before Alex backs Joe on the top ropes. Alex cheap shots Joe against the ropes and punches and stomps Joe down in the corner before focus on the arm of Joe. Joe counters a suplex attempt into one of his own before hitting a running forearm in the corner into a diving cross body before hitting a Uranagi for 2. Joe punches Alex in his guard before locking in a knee bar that Alex kicks his way out of before hitting a knee and hitting a knee and a twisting neck breaker for 2. Alex knocks Joe out of the air with an uppercut when he goes for a dive before hitting a fireman's carry suplex for a near fall. Alex hits a bridging German suplex for a near fall before Joe hits a backdrop into a discus lariat to the back of the net that sends Wolf flying through the ropes and out of the ring. Joe rolls Alex back into the ring for a near fall, and Alex gets his foot on the bottom rope before they end up on the apron and exchange strikes. Joe then hits the Glasgow send-off into all the best of for the bells for the pin to win. And there you have it, Joseph Coffey hitting his finisher and going over Alexander Wolf for the pinfall. Alright, so after that, Mark and Wolfgang come out after the match and celebrate with Joe on the ramp. Alright, so next up, we get a promo by the NXT Cruiserweight Champion, Jordan Devlin, who says that he's issuing an open challenge for his title starting next week as we go to commercial. Alright, so we come back from commercial, we get the main event, and that's with Southwell Subculture versus The Hunt. Alright, so SWS attack The Hunt before their match starts, before Primate and Board take control and isolate Mark, before Mark comes back with chops and hit Primate on the apron. Eddie helps Primate fall from falling off the apron before Boar hits Mark with the spine buster, and Primate suplex Boar onto Mark. Mark comes back with a rolling stomp before getting the hot tag to Flash, who clears the ring before hitting moves off of the apron onto both members of the Hunt. Back in the ring, Flash DDTs Boar onto Primate before Boar hits an inverted cannonball into the corner for 2, and Flash counters a package power driver. Mark and Primate come back in, and Mark hits a double tornado DDT on both members of the Hunt before hitting stereo topes to the outside. Back in the ring, SWS double up on Primate for a near fall that Boar breaks up before Primate clothesline Mark. Flash is sent out of the ring before the Hunt hits a double team move for a near fall. Flash saving Mark from the Hunt's finisher. Boar then distracts the referee before Eddie knocks Mark off the top, and Boar clothesline Flash at ringside before the Hunt hit an assisted fireman's carry into a sit-down powerbomb for the pin to win. And there you have it, the Hunt going over SWS via the pinfall. And that was it. That was NXT UK for last Thursday, which was December the 3rd. Overall, NXT UK got to give it a solid 4.4, a little bit, say 4.3 stars. It was solid, as NXT UK always is, in my opinion. I enjoy watching it. So that was your recap for the NXT and NXT UK for last Wednesday and Thursday. So without further ado, like I said, happy War Games Sunday. And tonight is going down. NXT TakeOver War Games going down at the CWC Center. So, very quickly, I'm going to go ahead and give my predictions. All right. And this may be more than likely the order of the card. So, we're going to start out with Timothy Thatcher with Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa's my dude. Got a feeling Thatcher may go over, but I'm going to go with Ciampa. Could be wrong, but I'm going to go with Ciampa on this. All right, next up, got the strap match. Dexter Lumis versus Cameron Grimes. Definitely Dexter Lumis going to win this. I like Cameron Grimes. He's a good comical wrestler or performer, however you want to put it. But I definitely enjoy Cameron Grimes, but I got Dexter Lumis going over on this. All right, in the North American title triple threat match, got champ Leon Ruff versus Damian Priest versus Johnny Wrestling, a.k.a. Johnny Takeover, a.k.a. Johnny Gargano. My brain's saying Leon may retain this in some quirky way, but I wouldn't be surprised if Damian Priest retains it back. So I'm going to go with Damian Priest on this. All right. And in the women's War Games match, Team Shotzi, of course, Shotzi Blackheart, Ember Moon, Rhea Ripley, and as we found out over on the Go Home show on NXT, the last member is Io Shirai versus Team Candice, which is Candice LeRae, Toni Storm, Raquel Gonzalez, and Dakota Kai. Even though the faces got the advantage, I'm going to go with the heels on this. I'm going to go with Team Candice. I wouldn't be surprised if Shotzi team win, but I got a feeling Team Candice going to win because I got a feeling Indy going to help out, and one of those ghost face that Johnny got in the tuck going to help. That's why I wouldn't be surprised about Johnny winning, but I'm going to go with Damian Priest. But in the main event, we got the men's War Game match. We got the Undisputed Era versus the Kings of NXT. Okay. Another reason why I wanted to do this prediction show. Well, add this to the NXT show and do these predictions. All right. I got a strong feeling somebody from the UE is going to turn. And from the promo little vignette that was going down on the Go Home show, my money is I wouldn't be surprised if Roderick turns and joins Pat McAfee's group. I want my UE boys to win. You know how I feel about the era, but I got a strong feeling Roddy. If it's not Roddy, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Kyle or Bobby Fish, but I got a stronger feeling that Roddy, the one that helped Pete get the advantage, pushing Kyle off the ladder. Yeah. I got the team Kings of NXT going over on UE and losing a member of UE. I wouldn't be surprised if UE does break up and at least Adam Cole goes up and the other three stay. It would make sense for them to bring all four up, but in this new storyline, I think they are going to break up and at least three of them will go on the main roster. One will probably stay in NXT for a little bit and then go up. The one I'm thinking that's going to stay in NXT for a little bit is Roddy once he joins the Kings of NXT. But I definitely do see a turn coming tonight. Yep. All right, so to recap my predictions, I got Tommaso Ciampa going over Timothy Thatcher. In the strap match, I got Dexter Lumis going over Cameron Grimes. In the North American triple threat match, I have Damian Priest retaining, but I wouldn't be surprised if Leon Ruff would somehow win it or if one of those Ghostface helped Johnny, but I'm definitely picking Damian. So my final pick is Damian Priest. In the Women's War Games match, Team Shotzi versus Team Candice, I got Team Candice winning. And in the Men's War Games match, I have the Kings of NXT, which is Pat McAfee, Danny Burch, Oney Lorcan, and Pete Dunne going over Undisputed Era with either Roger Strong, Bobby Fish, or Kyle O'Reilly turning. And that's it. So those are my predictions for War Games tonight. Should be a good War Games. Looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to hopefully an upset with my Eagles, but I doubt it. But I do hope they're good, so that'll be good. You know what I mean? Watch the Eagles game and slide right in the War Games. Y'all know Rico say, gentlemen, y'all know how this done. War Games! So I'm looking forward to that. I am actually going to pull up while I was watching the NXT over, because usually on Sundays I do a recap. I'll watch NXT, I'll watch Dynamite, maybe throw watching some Impact, New Japan, in between watching football, you know what I'm saying? But as I was watching NXT this morning, seeing them was replaying the War Games from 2019, so I think I may watch that while I wait for the Eagles game. All right, so without further ado, wrapping the show up with the last plugs. And first plug, of course, don't forget the Lucky Well, 3 locations, Ambler on Butler Pike, on Easton Road in Warrenton, PA, and the shopping square there, the Valley Square, I believe, shopping center. Also, 10th of Spring Garden right here in Northern Liberties. You can also go to theluckywell.com. And for right now, they just doing takeout and delivery orders. But hopefully soon, your boy be back in that kitchen, humping and bumping, slaving and doing everything else. Nah, not slaving, but I enjoy working in the kitchen, as y'all know. Also, don't forget my big bro, DJ Hardcore from DJ Hardcore Productions, and the showcase coming up, the Herb Spoken Word Showcase going down January the 9th right here at the Maplewood Mall, right here in the Germantown section of the city of Philly. Go to eventbrite.com/DJ Hardcore Productions. Get more information. Also, you can hit him up on Facebook and on Instagram at DJ Hardcore Productions. Also, can't forget my fam, the One Struggle family. That's right. Of course, DJ Hardcore, DJ Hardcore Productions. Can't forget my blood bro, the VP Nodes G, aka ODL. Can't forget Reno Bryce, aka War Blizzy. Can't forget my man's Flames the Vet. Can't forget them Bush Boys. Shout out Bush Boys. Can't forget my man KJ, aka Super K, Super My Super. Also, bro, can't forget Cozy Mo, and Now I'm saying the rest of the One Struggle family. Also, sending mad love to Russell Cave, the Facebook group, no longer the podcast. But don't forget to catch out Geechee Geech. He got a new album get ready to drop. Give y'all more information and plug that. Also, Marked Out Worldwide. Can't forget True Hills. Make sure you support their YouTube channel and the great things they got going on over there. And Marked Out Worldwide and Wrestling Marks Worldwide. Can't forget out those Facebook groups as well. So, went a little bit over the time I wanted to, but that's okay. Kept it about 40 minutes. I appreciate everybody. Don't forget, want more information about the ad reads and getting in me plug-in as well as DJ Hardcore, plugging y'all's businesses or whatever on the podcast we got dropping off. More information, go to 1struggle radio@gmail.com. Be more than glad to send you some information back. Also, don't forget to catch us at castbox.fm.com. You can stream us there. We on Spreaker. You can stream us on Spreaker. We also on SoundCloud. Don't forget the cloud at One Struggle Radio. And also for the YouTube, One Struggle Radio. That's where you can get this podcast and all the other podcasts we're going to be dropping very soon. All right. So I want to, from the bottom of my heart, thank everybody for tuning in. This your boy, J Raw with the J Raw Weekly Wrestling Podcast. This is the NXT and NXT UK and War Games prediction show for December the 6th, 2020. All right. Y'all take it easy. Peace.